let's get a little more precise about what needs to happen to get from where I am now to the ideal state that I envision. Now, of course, that path will not necessarily end up with exactly what I envision. You have to have flexibility and roll with the reality of how things actually work out. But of course, a really good plan is a good thing to have, even if you end up having to deviate from it or it doesn't completely work the way you thought. First is a good assessment of where I'm at now. And we're going to start with me. I don't know how much I want to talk about that, but I'm a moderate mess. I have been alone a long time. I'm recovering, mostly recovered from a very, very, very bad injury in which I could have died. And that would have made my life a lot easier. But I'm still here. Still have to do shit. So that's the deal. The forest is absolutely wonderful and has actually improved. I've had problems with the pine beetle plague, but the way it's worked out has really not been very bad. I have a little bit left in one spot, and we're going to have to cut those trees down, but all the rest of this, there's no pine beetle plague. The amount of pines that are densely planted together is less, so there's groves of them further from each other, and the pine beetle doesn't go very far. So that's good. The forest is at massive risk of forest fire. That is an immediate danger and threat, and it will get worse as the dry season continues. It's almost a certainty that eventually there will be a fire, and what I say is that it's the best time to fight a forest fire is before it starts. In other words, prepare for it happening so you reduce its impact and perhaps it never actually happens. The way to do that currently is to bulldoze the current roads to recapture some of them that have grown over. And also I have a plan for bulldozing a whole bunch of other roads. That is a very expensive proposition. It requires quite a bit of attention, and it requires my attention. When I have had a bulldozer in the past, I had waited 9 years before I bulldozed. 9 years to think about it, because I don't like to fuck shit up. And ripping into the earth with a big, noisy machine is a scary proposition. It has to be done right. And my plan is very good. I know a lot more about bulldozers than I did before. Before I didn't know anything, and so I was there every day with the bulldozer. Now, I understand a lot more, so I don't know that I would have to be there every minute. But I think somebody has to be. And somebody who's totally focused just on what is the goal, exactly where do we bulldoze and how. And there's some bulldozer projects that need more attention than others. Like, they're going to destroy more shit, or they're complicated. Like, I have one, I don't know if we can do it. I have to get a bulldozer guy to advise me on a place I want to put a road on a slope, and I don't know if it's going to be possible to do. It might be too steep of a slope. But I would love it, and I don't plan to have cars going on that. I want to bulldoze it so that I can open up as a walking trail and perhaps make camping spots, or even I have some building ideas that may later be on that slope. Because building on slope has quite a few advantages. Let's see, what else about me? So I don't trust people, and that's because I let too many people come through my life in an unbalanced way, and I was used and abused. Not all the time. Where those dogs going? They're running over there really fast. Fucking dogs. I don't know what they're doing. So bulldozer work, these are things that should happen ideally before someone even comes here. The other thing that could get bulldozed is building sites. Some of them are already almost ready, and I don't know the priority on which buildings should get built first. I do know this. One thing I've learned is don't build the first one of something in your best spot. And so it really matters the level of confidence that we have in our building skills to not put the first, I have one team that's awesome. And I guess I know that I'm probably going to have to start with smaller buildings because I can't finance a bigger building. I can't fund it. And I know that there's a lot of learning that's going to have to happen. The guys I know that I would like to hire as builders, and they could also have other people even paying to come to a building workshop to learn how to build with largely natural materials, but people who just want to know how to build their own house or how to manage the building of a house. The space I'm in right now is about 13 acres. And it's very central, and it's what I picture as the most shareable part of the land for like workshops, gatherings, which isn't my primary objective. I want a stable team of people actually living here, but it's going to start out with people visiting for shorter times. I think I'll be fine. Yeah, I'm nuts in some ways, but I think as I have people here, I need to not be in charge of every fucking thing. The goal is to get other people running other parts of the project as soon as possible, because when I have had people, the amount of work and stress and things I have to do becomes immense, so I barely even have time to sleep at night. So I need people thinking about a bunch of really critical key roles as we fix up the currently damaged infrastructure, and then we start to build more infrastructure. But the first part is a cleanup job. I mean, every building has animals living in it. You know, every building is damaged in some way. Beyond that, there's a stage of improving the buildings. Well, 2 of them aren't even done. They're just sitting there actually, one of them's almost 70%, 80% finished. And it just needs a bunch of cob put in the walls and cleaned up and to be ready to go. The improvements immediately to be made to buildings would be get internet to most buildings. We don't have to have internet everywhere, but most people want internet, you know? And for a lot of the work we do, we will be publishing stuff and we need to be communicating really well. Everything is kind of far away from everything else currently, so that's a really important thing. And another thing is rain capture. I don't want to be getting water trucks driving in. They're expensive, they're noisy, and we can totally set up an option for that, and I think we should, both on that part of the land and that part of the land. But rain capture is where it's really at. That's our benefit long term. What bird is that? Bird, what are you? I don't see that kind of bird very much. What the hell kind of bird is it? Maybe I can tell better when it flies. It's just sitting there. It looks like one of those doves. It looks like this rare endangered dove that is coming back. Oh, I also want to put water out for wildlife. That's actually a really high priority because it will take many years to increase the amount of wildlife. And so, oh, it just flew away. What a cute bird. That is a known system. That could be its own crowdfunding thing right there. Of just, I want, and the thing is, that implies a roof, right? And I've been tempted multiple times to build at some really intelligent location a large metal roof. I would not build it. I would hire someone to build it. And the reason is because there are big benefits to having a big open space. And it would get a bunch of rain capture, hopefully high up on the property, allowing that water, the huge amount of water it could produce, which there's a formula for and I can calculate it. And then that water could come through the rest of the property in buried tubes, hoses, pipes. And, because if I'm going to have people, they immediately use water. Another high priority project as we have people, well, let's get back to me and people. So I need to lighten the load on me. I need to have people who don't need a lot, and they can socialize with each other and provide their social needs. Because when I have like one person here with normal people, I feel a immense obligation to talk to them and have them have a good time. But that uses my time. It's not necessarily fun for me. I'm not actually on vacation here. I am desperately trying to figure out a way to solve a lot of problems and survive. So I am not socially available to most people, probably. And of course, it does occur to me that it would be neat to have a girlfriend type person or somebody filling part of that role. And that would be cool. But that's not my primary priority. I think I'll just invite really cool, smart people and then see if that happens. I mean, it's happened before. I had a girlfriend here for 5 years. That was pretty cool. And that would also change my attitude quite a bit. As a different ex-girlfriend said, who visited, she said, "You need to get laid." Which I thought, at the time I was like, no, I don't. But really, I mean, that is a whole aspect of life that's really important to people that I'm just tuning out and ignoring because I don't have any good options anyway. And the things I want out of relationships are so unique and specific, and the things I don't want are so many that I'm really not compatible with hardly anyone. So I've kind of given up. But, you know, I don't rule it out at all. In fact, maybe you should take some kind of action and, I don't know. Fucking stuff like Tinder is so stupid and useless. And there are no local people I'm going to get involved with. I will have to import from some other city, place, or somewhere any romantic options. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that. That's private. Don't even comment on that. It's invading my privacy. Even you listening to this, it's invading my privacy. I'm very upset. Very, very upset. My lifestyle would improve radically. Someone would be in charge of making healthy food, and it would be more than one person. I need space alone. I need time that's separate. In fact, I talked with one person who's come down here 4 times. She's absolutely wonderful. She came down and helped me after my accident because I was like unable to care for myself. Like, it was ridiculous. I mean, all she did really was cook food for me because I was good enough. I got good enough by that time. 8 months after the accident, things were very difficult, but and I wish I could have recovered faster, but I was recovering in fairly difficult conditions and probably should have had like a bunch of physical therapy. I got a tiny ass bit, but I, could still use that. I'm not as flexible, so I have physical problems. I have other problems, like my passport's expired, which is very bad if I want to ever travel anywhere. And I do need the ability to travel. Also, I have some bureaucratic shit I need to do that I need a passport for. I don't even have a driver's license. I shouldn't say that. Of course I have a driver's license. Actually, my van's broke anyway. I can't drive it. So other things related, I guess the van is kind of a me-related thing. But really, I don't think I need to personally own a vehicle. I don't think that should be necessary in what I envision. And so the project needs to own one. And it should be insured and registered. And like be like a legal vehicle that can be shared. And then have people who are officially trained as drivers and have whatever license is needed to transport people in a commercial way for an organization. Whatever the hell's legal, that's what I want. I don't want to fuck around with that shit. There's a lot of stuff I could do that would be shady or you know, kind of off the books. And I want to do things in as legal a way as possible while still doing innovative stuff. So, you know, it's not because I always want to do what the state wants me to do, because sometimes I don't, but for the longevity of the project, we stay real legal, which also means there's not going to be any growing of any kind of drugs here, stuff like that. It's just like there's a bunch of things that, you know, if there's an illegality issue with it, we don't get involved. So, I know that's a bummer, but just how it is. I think I'll be fine. I think I'll be really happy if I have really the best people here. And that the harder part is filtering out who are the right people and by what social agreements are we living. The very first people I'd like to invite here, I suggest that they come for 3 to 6 months. That's a long time. Most people can't do that. And that's one of the reasons that one of the groups I'm recruiting is people who can work online. And that also means I need to fix the solar power system, and I need to fix the one that exists because it's an investment already. It's still confusing what to do about that, and then get this is larger funded items, 2 quite big solar power systems, really fucking big, and then use that power really like cheapskates. Like, we only use LED lights at night. We have some laptops running. There's some functions that need to happen 24/7. I want somebody on social media 24/7. Uploading videos. I have 2 computers in front of them. And they're at least, maybe more. I want a machine that's just doing scripting things. It's automating social networks with scripting things, and it's possible. I've seen pictures where they have walls of phones. It's possible I should even set up something like that. I don't know. There's a bunch of weird roles, and they're not all what you would think of. Like, everybody just thinks it's all about farming, and it's like, believe it or not, growing food, even though it's a food forest, is not the first priority. Food is not our greatest expense. And yes, someone has to be dedicated to that. And yes, we want to create innovative solutions for the world. But that's just one of many things that will cause this place to work. And it's not the one needed for immediate survival. So, deciding which programs we develop in which order is critical. I mentioned the building one is obvious that we want to do that one pretty soon because we need housing. But we can also have somebody as getting sponsor relationships, and we can have really nice glamping level tents here. I think that's a brilliant idea. I don't really want to focus on tourism development. Many people suggest that as an option. I just don't want to be in that industry. I want to only be having contact with people who philosophically, for some reason, have something of interest to me and my visions, and who are all agreeing to a social contract. In other words, just being open to the public is a terrible thing. I don't want to do it. I got on my notebook to see what else I was supposed to say, and then I didn't even look at it. Transport, vehicles, roads. Oh yeah, roads. Trails, too, goes along with that. Building buildings. Getting the food system working. Getting the gardening system working. I really like the idea of raising the priority of water for wildlife, because the amount of bird life here, I'm pretty far from the nearest natural water source. And so a bird really wouldn't want to live here that far away from the water. And so capturing water specifically as an oasis, an oasis for wildlife and for birds, because there's other wildlife too, and setting up pools for them that are protected from the dogs. We could have a bird feeder along with a water spot that uses AI to identify the birds. That'd be really fun, because we have science opportunities with wildlife and stuff. It's fun. I think that's the basic thing. And then figuring out this complex thing about who can come here. And I do have a preference, I think, for people who already have a social media presence. They don't have to have one, but I want people on camera anyway. And so inviting YouTubers and Instagrammers, YouTube's far more interesting actually. And I have a spreadsheet of a bunch of people who are YouTubers who I could potentially invite here. The cool thing about that is they care about their reputation. Anonymous people that don't care about their reputation are more dangerous to me, because they can be as big a fuckwad as they want and mess me up, and I have no way to do anything about it. Not that all the YouTubers will be perfect at all, but the likelihood that they're doing really nefarious shit is much less, I think. And I pick them. I pick the ones that have topics I like, that seem intelligent, that seem like they could. A lot of them are just talking head videos, and I guess mine is a moving head videos on a trail. A lot, not very interesting. But they would also be able to fund themselves, where they could donate to the nonprofit, because they would get more viewership doing cooler stuff with other people. Educational stuff, survival skills, building stuff with animals. I got a lot of cool projects I want to do here. And one of those I'll mention before I run out of battery here is the sauna. The solar sauna is very high up on the list because people will need it right away. And it's a very cool project. People want to keep clean all around the world, and they have a lack of water. This addresses both of those items. And so building the first solar sauna, and then pretty soon after building another one. We'll evaluate the hell out of the use and design issues of the first, and then determine to do another one. And those saunas are actually in a spot where we plan for an entire spa complex all around it. That's it. That's what it's going to take to get this place going. I'll talk about next steps in another video.